So the last couple of videos touched on working out what your values are, what's most important to you, so that you can know who you are and from that place act with integrity. Now this next exercise is a way of what I refer to as testing your realization. In the particularly the Japanese martial arts tradition, kind of Zen martial arts tradition, there's this idea of testing your realization, that when someone thought they had hit a point of enlightenment, or certainly of kind of really having had full transmission of what they were seeking to learn, they'd gather together people that they trusted to really challenge them, and they'd test their realization. Now in a martial arts context that meant combat. Not usually seeking kind of lethal combat, but ritual combat, if you like. And probably in an earlier time, during the feudal time in Japan, it may have meant going out and choosing some opponents and having some duels, and that be testing your realization. So what I'd really recommend around values, to be sure that you're really seeking to embody the right things, the things that are right for you, is to test your realization. Because it's easy, especially when working with values, it's something that's quite lofty. People can get very caught up in, oh yeah, I want to be that person, I want to be that person, and you can end up quite easily just listing a whole bunch of stuff that you've received from various sources as being positive. So you've been programmed with these ideas about what's good and what's bad, and you just espouse what you've been told is good, rather than really listening to that still small voice deep in your heart, deep in the heart of your being, that says, this is what matters. You know, I often talk to people about picking your battles. There are 100 causes I would love to fight for in this world. There are so many people I'd love to help in so many different circumstances. And the reality is that I don't have time to do them all in this one lifetime. And some of those choices would run contrary to other things that are important to me, like having a family, having roots. Some of the choices about who I might want to help or the actions I might want to take in the world are incompatible with other choices that I want to make. So you've always got to pick your battles, and that's no less true with values. You can't be all things to all people. So it's worth testing your realization to really get clear about what is truly important to me, so that I can live that. And there are lots of ways of doing that. One is to take those values and really focus on them and live with them for a little bit of time and see how you feel. If you feel good, if you feel congruent, if you feel aligned and on purpose, then the odds are you've got the right ones. If you feel a bit of dissonance, or you get into a situation and you think about, how do my values relate to that situation? And then you go, just a minute, there's something that doesn't fit here. Then the odds are something's a little bit skew. Now it may not be that that value is completely useless, it may just need refining. A little like my example in the previous video about what I didn't like, it wasn't about fairness, it was about responsible use of power. That was a refinement that I had to work for, to work out really specifically what is it that's important to me here. So, another way, which can be a lovely way of testing your realization, and it can be quicker too, is to work with a partner. So work with someone who you really trust to help you out with this, who you trust to give you honest feedback, and also who you trust to be able to talk to them about things that are dear to your heart and may as yet be burgeoning or quite delicate things to discuss with someone else. Because values are powerful and precious. So take care with them. So to take that partner that you trust to work with, and you get them to put their hand on your chest, on your heart. It's an exercise sometimes called hand on heart. Get them to put their hand on your heart. It's great to stand opposite each other. Standing means that your whole body can get really involved in what you're going to say, so that they can feel the response that happens in your body, and they can feel the response that happens in their body, and they can give you feedback about that. This is an embodied way of exploring your values. So you stand opposite them, and they put their hand on your heart, and you can say, I believe in responsible use of power. Or, I am committed to a responsible use of power. Or, I am a responsible use of power. And that may sound like a slightly strange way of phrasing it, but when you say I am, there's something happens in you where either you are already or you're not quite there, and you'll get that feedback. And it might be that you're not quite there because it's something you're working on, and it might be that you're not quite there because it's actually not quite right for you. But you can get that information and sit with it and work it out for yourself. Is this a dissonance because I'm working on it and I'm still developing, or is this a dissonance because this value isn't quite right? Another phrase that I've heard used, and you can experiment with any of them and see what the results are that you get. You can even try them all out in the space of working with a partner around this. Maybe they want to do the same exercise and you can do hand on heart for them too. And you can both test your realisation. It can be a lovely, intimate thing to do, really relationship building. So, another phrase that I've heard used, it's sometimes called a speech act. And as far as I know, it comes from the research of a guy called Fernando Flores. And the speech act goes, I am a commitment to. Now again, that might sound like strange language, rather than I have a commitment to or I am committed to, but I am a commitment to means that what you're stating very clearly linguistically is that as a being, what you embody is responsible use of power, courage, love, whatever that might be, whatever your value might be. So there's a few phrases that you can work with. Some of them work better for some people and some work better for others. If you're working with others, then it's useful sometimes to have different phrases to work with. I seem to find most consistently that either just saying I am and then the value, or I am a commitment to, is most resonant, brings the most stuff to the surface as a rich body of stuff to work with, in terms of being able to give some really solid feedback of either, wow, you know, that really hit me, that felt powerful, or maybe I felt bulldozed by that, you know, because it might be that they're a little bit too fierce with it, a bit too full on, a bit brittle, or yeah, I felt it as you finished the phrase, but when you started the phrase it felt like there was some hesitancy. You know, be as specific with the feedback that you give them if you're the person feeding back. Be as specific with the feedback as you can, because they're best served by your honesty in those moments. Be caring with it, be compassionate with it, but they're definitely best served by your honesty, because that's what's going to help them work out. That's what's going to help your partner work out what their values are, what's most important to them in their lives, and that could really shape what they choose to do with that one precious life that they have. Once again, I hope that's useful.